We have some bombshell news, everybody, and you're not going to hear it from mainstream media, I can guarantee you that. New statistical analysis shows that Kamala Harris should have won the 2024 election. And nobody's talking about this, guys. We have this information thanks to this guy, Greg Palast, a statistician. Him and his team went through 4 million different votes that were thrown out, or provisional ballots, mail-in ballots thrown in the trash, and they did excellent work. Not gonna lie, I was in disbelief when I heard these results, but what they found out was shocking. Check this out. If all legal voters were allowed to vote, and if all legal ballots were counted, Trump would have lost the states of Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Georgia. If it were not for voter suppression, Kamala Harris would have won the presidency with 286 electoral votes. They found that there was a mass purge of voters, mass disqualification of provisional and mail-in ballots, and there were these new vigilante challengers who basically say, like, hey, so-and-so isn't actually a citizen, or so-and-so's dead, you gotta throw out their vote. If it weren't for all that corruption and democracy took its course the way it should, Kamala Harris would have had 3,565,000 more votes. That would have given her the popular vote, in addition to the Electoral College victory. So prior to the election, you remember those vigilantes I just mentioned? By August 2024, those vigilantes, voter fraud hunters, challenged the rights of 317,886 voters. That was before Election Day. There were over 200,000 challenges in Georgia alone by Election Day. Can you believe that over 2 million mail-in ballots were disqualified for minor clerical errors? So if they can't read the date quite right, or if the person has bad handwriting, yeah, they'll throw out votes for that. And that totaled over 2 million. And mind you, these disqualifications were overwhelmingly people of color. Over 1.2 million provisional ballots were rejected and not counted. And a total of 3,240,000 new registrations were rejected. Here's an additional point that researcher Greg Palast makes himself.
If we didn't have a vote suppression Jim Crow voting system, and I'm telling you, I work all over the world on elections, from Britain to Venezuela to Liberia. There's no other nation in the world, except for old apartheid South Africa, where we have a supposed democracies, where you have this racial, basically Jim Crow apartheid voting system, where you have massive, massive numbers of voters of color lose their vote. Also now, that's kind of widened out to, I found a massive number of young people. Again, that demographic is they're voters of color too. The color's blue, because young voters, especially young women, that are targeted for the purges, to be sent to provisional ballots, had their registrations canceled or their votes disqualified, especially their mail-in ballots. NPR found that 1 in 7 mail-in ballots in the analysis they did were thrown in the garbage. Overwhelmingly, again, by the government numbers, 400% more likely if you're black than if you're white. So this is how Trump won, by racial and other forms of vote suppression. That gave him the election. And unless we restart this voting rights movement in America, 2028's already decided. It'll be decided by Jim Crow, not by the voters.
No, Trump supporters, this isn't the same as when we were complaining that Trump was saying that there was election fraud during the 2020 election. The big difference is that Trump knew he lost and that he knew he was lying. This is actual scientific data. That's the difference. And I think that's a big reason why no one's talking about this. Progressive media is embarrassed to look just like Trump supporters did 4 years ago, when they were all saying the election was rigged and stuff. But like I said, this is not the same, for the reasons and all the points I just laid out for you. So don't feel ashamed sharing this video and sharing this information, because it needs to be known. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please leave a like and a follow.